Lesson 15, Kriya. Today we discuss Neti, the third Kriya exercise. Is described in the Hatha Yoga Pradipika chapter 2, Sutra 29. Then Neti is described. Insert through the nasal passage a smooth thread of the length of a handspan, about 9 inches or around 25 centimeters, and draw it out through the mouth. This is called Neti by the Siddhas. So, if you understand the previous two Kriya exercises, Dauti and Vashti, you probably guess that you're not literally pulling a thread through your nostril and out your mouth. I don't know if you can imagine doing something like that. This is incredibly painful because the tissue in the sinuses is incredibly delicate. So, same story, if you do this literally, you will damage yourself. And that is never the purpose of yoga. Yoga is healing, not damaging. Another thing is that many yoga practitioners have a neti pot. Do you know what a neti pot is? No? A neti pot is a little teapot. It's a little teapot, you pour water in it, and you rinse your sinuses with it. So, people who are very motivated in their yoga practice, they often use this as a ritual. Not the thread through the nose, but using a neti pot. Just like with Dauti and with Vashti, doing this on a ritual basis, which means regularly, every day, or maybe twice a day, that's not healthy. Because the nose, the sinuses internally, it's all covered in a protective layer. If you keep flushing that away, you just disturb the balance of your body fluids, the mucus that is supposed to protect you. Then, like with Vashti, what they do these days in the yoga retreats, using an anima on a ritual basis. An anima is a medical device. A neti pot is also a medical device. If you have one, use it only when your sinuses are clogged. When you have a cold and you can't breathe through the nose, you put lukewarm water in the neti pot with a sniff of salt, and pouring that into the nostril, you will then free up the airways. So it's something that you only use occasionally when needed, maybe once a year, twice a year when you have a cold. For the rest, you shouldn't use it in a ritual way. It's not healthy. So what is this about? There is a logic here, which last week, especially when we discussed Dauti, that logic was not so clear to see yet. Then we learned Vashti, and we started to see that there is a certain approach that helped us become familiar with the flow of Shiva and Shakti energy, both at the top and at the bottom. It also started bringing our attention to Manipura chakra, but we will come back to that next week. Chandra Bindu, Surya Bindu in the center of Muladhara Chakra. Now what we did last week, we started with Dauti. Swallowing a piece of cloth, imaginary. You follow the flow of energy from the center of the head down to the stomach. And then you pull the bandage out, the piece of cloth. You follow then the energy going up. It ended in Manipura Chakra. In Vashti, we suck up water through the anus. We imagine energy rising. Shakti. I use red for Shakti and blue for Shiva. And then you expel the water. So here we became familiar with the flow of energy. Neti is not about your nose. It's about Ajna Chakra. Because to control energy, you have to see this from the perspective of people 1,000 years ago, 2,000, 5,000 years ago, people who were not educated, people who couldn't read or write. Learning yoga, they learned through symbolism. Ajna Chakra was not developed, they did not have mental or intellectual capacity, so they have to start from scratch. You already have a mental capacity because you spent 20 years in school. Compulsory education. What you do with Neti is focusing on the center of your head. Why do you do that? Energy goes where thought goes. It's a meditation exercise, just like the other two, where you solely focus on the head. What you're really doing is bringing energy to Ajna Chakra, which gradually over time leads to the development of intellect. That is the ancient way of developing intellect. The modern world that we live in now has a very different approach, with books and teachers that keep presenting facts and data that you store in your memory. But the ancient approach to developing intellect was not by data input, memorization, but by increasing energy to Ajna Chakra. You need intellect if you want to control energy, because energy is controlled by thought control. Thought control is only possible if you have an intellectual power to speak of. The reason why people are scattered and chaotic is because their intellect is not working properly. And so people's lives are dominated by emotions and desires, still in the world that we live in today. That's just natural. Next week, with the second session with Trataka, we will narrow this down. Neti is just to bring your attention to Ajna Chakra. With Trataka, we start the process of mind control, which I will then explain. So for now, this is it. You already know this because you're not like those people from thousands of years ago You have had your education, but you also learned about nada. You basically are beyond this already. You already have the mental capacity, and you already learned to concentrate in Ajna Chakra on nada. That is what this is about, and Trataka, the next Kriya, is about. But do you see the logic? First familiarize with energy, then with the entity that allows you to control energy, the mental body. Yeah? Let's leave it at that. You sit on your cushion, 20 minutes, you start with Dauti, Vashti, and then you concentrate on Nadi, on nada. You've done that already. That's all you need to do. So we have Neti, and we have nada. "20 minutes.